For those of you who have watched TYT Network's flagship show, The Young Turks, you're keenly aware of my cultural background. I was born in Los Angeles.
Get your tits out, love.
Being a child of immigrants has always given me a great deal of pride. But specifically, my Armenian culture has made me even prouder. Armenians are fighters and survivors. Nothing made that more apparent than how they survived through the Turkish efforts to wipe them off the face of the earth in the early 1900s. An estimated 1.5 million Armenians perished during the genocide, simply because they were a Christian minority in the region. Men were slaughtered while women and children were forced on a death march through the desert to Syria.
Yes, Anna, you, being a first-generation American of Armenian descent, did the bare minimum required when it comes to the Armenian genocide. You have total editorial control.
It's editorial, it's fashion, it's style, it's beauty, it's grace, it's elegance, it's poise, it's set it on fire, set it on, bitch, better have my money!
This is not environmentally friendly.
You have total editorial control over what you talk about on your show. And when the 100-year anniversary comes by of your people's genocide, or maybe just once a year, you can mention it as it's an ongoing story. The story is not that the genocide happened. The story is that people deny the genocide, namely your boss. Also of note, the company you work for is named after the group of people that committed the genocide. This is, at bare minimum, insensitive, and at worst, a treasonous act for you to be associated with such a group.
I shared my own family's story on the Young Turks in 2016. The purpose of a death march is to ensure that these people die.
Yes, Anna, we all understand it was a terrible event, and we understand that your family has ties to this. The issue is not you, it is Genk. The very fact that you right now are doing another video talking about the Armenian genocide does nothing. It's you spinning and making excuses, and what I'm seeing is you, and not the person that I should be seeing, which is Genk. Genk is the one we are targeting here. You should just come out and say, oh, I'm on the Young Turks because I won the lottery and I get to pretend to be a news person and I can exploit this for money and fame. And I could give a fuck if my boss is a genocide denier or if the company's named after the group that killed my people. Just say that because that's the truth of it.
Now, I want to share my personal experience with this story and why I think it's so important to share it with you. As I mentioned, my family was also victimized by this brutality. My grandfather on my father's side, my great-grandfather, I should say, on my father's side, was murdered by the Turks, and then my great-grandmother was forced to go through this death march with her children. Now, luckily they survived because of the help of Turkish families that were against the genocide.
Oh, not all, huh? Yeah, some of those Turks are great. Kind of like your boss. Is he one of the great ones?
Throughout my career, some have asked how I can reconcile the fact that the CEO and founder of TYT, Cenk Uygur, denied the genocide in a column he wrote for his college paper back in 1991. In the 27-year-old op-ed...
Oh, you want to highlight that it's 27 years old? 27 years old, huh? Oh, you're referencing the 1991 article he did for the Daily Pennsylvanian? That's a long time, 27 years. Well, he wrote another one for Salon in 1999, where he argued that there was no evidence for the genocide. So that was 99. And then after that, we have 19 more years of genocide denial, in which he had a platform, did 0 videos on it, 0 videos, Anna, never mentioned it until this year where he did 2 things. One, he did a completely half-assed retraction of the denial. Did you hear that correctly? Listen again. It's not an acknowledgement of the genocide, it's a retraction of the denial. And it's very specifically a retraction of the denial. She'll even mention it. She'll say that word. He rescinded it. He retracted it. And in that statement, he said that he's not going to comment on the Armenian genocide because he doesn't know enough about it. He's not a historian. It's amazing. I did a video on it. Here's some of it. My mistake at the time was confusing myself for a scholar of history, which I most certainly am not. Just removing yourself from... Yeah, it's very tricky to figure out if this happened or not, Genk. About a 2-second Google search would give you clarity, but yeah. I don't want to make the same mistake again, so I am going to refrain from commenting on the topic of the Armenian genocide, which I do not know nearly enough about. You've only had 3 decades to look into it. Oh yeah, it's one of those real riddles in modern history. What the fuck happened to those 1.5 million people? Thank you for being patient with me on this issue, though I might not have always merited it. Well, I'm not patient with you. You are a disgrace and a joke. Eat shit, you fat brown buffalo. Now Google that.
And by the way, I'm saying it here for the 50 millionth time, okay?
You monkey ass whore. Sorry, hold on, let me rescind that. You're not a whore. I've heard rumors. It's a historical situation. I'm not really an expert on it, so I don't want to comment on it. Anna, you idiot. Everybody understands that you don't deny the genocide. You're a fucking Armenian. You are duty bound to acknowledge the genocide, and if you didn't, you'd be disowned by your people. You should be disowned by them for being a goddamn co-host on the Young Turks. You nebbish shrew. How could you not figure this out, you shit? The person to your right, you know that fat space-eating blob right there? He's the one that we're fucking mad at, you dumb fuck. Get a goddamn clue, woman.
I do not deny the genocide, talked about the genocide on this show. Go to our YouTube channel, search it, you'll find videos of me talking about the genocide.
Yeah, there are 2 videos of it, Anna. And Genk isn't on either of them. You know who took a vacation during the 100-year anniversary of the Armenian genocide? Genk! Genk did. And this girl thinks like, hey, I recognize that it happened, so I've done my part. Not good enough. Sorry.
These people want to smear Cenk so badly that they hold on to that issue.
Cenk smears himself. Go ask Genk's toilet if he smears himself. Genk is a shit stain. He's a skid mark. Fuck Genk.
These people want to smear Cenk so badly that they hold on to that issue.
Hold on to it? It's an ongoing issue.
Uyghur called into question whether the massacres that happened in 1915 can really be considered a genocide. Now, reading that was disappointing, and I knew I had one of 2 options. I could either quit my job at the only news organization that allowed me to speak my mind without fear of censorship.
News organization? It's not a news organization. Fucking Christ. Get your tits out. Now, it's the only, quote, place that would hire you, Anna. So, wait a minute, quit my job? That's gonna work against me. I mean, I'm a principled person. But should a Jew work for a group called the Young Nazis? With a Holocaust-denying president? Wonder. It is my job.
Or I could stay and slowly chip away at the decades of propaganda he was exposed to. I clearly chose the latter because I believed in Cenk. I knew who he was as a person, and I knew shunning people like him would do nothing to help the Armenian cause. After several discussions, he later rescinded his genocide denial column.
Oh, she chipped away at him, and he rescinded it. Oh, it's interesting. She stopped here at the bottom. He says, today I rescind the statements. So this is like a Holocaust denier saying, I retract my statement where I denied the Holocaust. Oh, okay, so you acknowledge that the Holocaust happened? No, I'm just retracting my denial of it happening. Isn't that the same as saying it happened? No, it's just, I don't know enough about it. What a freaking cop-out. God, and she cuts it off. Notice where she cuts it off. Again, what you're not seeing. Look at what you're not seeing. My mistake at the time was confusing myself for a scholar of history, which I most certainly am not. I don't want to make what? I don't want to make what? What? You don't want to make what, Genk? I don't want to make the same mistake again, so I am going to refrain from commenting on the topic of the Armenian genocide, which I do not know nearly enough about. Right. Fucking right. Jesus Christ. If you don't see how hideously dishonest that is, you don't know enough about it? Google it for fucking 2 seconds, you dick. Oh, you seem to know enough about the Holocaust. You go after the Nazis on that. You know a lot about lynching in America. You know a lot about slavery. Oh, but when it comes to that genocide the Turks did, oh yeah, it's very vague. You're a busy man. You couldn't study that. And so the answer to why they cut off that statement right there where they did is because she knows. She knows how bullshit this is. This is not an admission of the genocide. Now, this year, in the most pathetic and weak and cowardly way possible, after literally 45 years of denying it, he has in passing acknowledged that it happened. Not in a video featuring the fact that he wanted to talk about that. No, at the tail end of a video focusing on something else entirely, he mentions it in passing. So he is not going to come out and go, the Armenian genocide happened. I want to be clear about it. Cenk Uygur. So the topic of the video is the Armenian genocide. He's going to have a graphic. It's going to be him talking to the audience. Matter of fact, I'm telling you it happened. This is important. I want to be clear on this. He doesn't do that. And this bullshit like, oh, well, I'm not denying it. Yeah, it happened. Now he says that. And late, in the middle of 2018, he's saying that. At the start of 2018, he's saying, I'm not going to comment on it. And 2017, 2016, 2015, nothing. The 100-year anniversary, nothing. The 15 years after the turn of the century, nothing. 1999, he's openly denying it in public. He's writing articles hoping that you deny it too. That's why he wrote the article. It wasn't just him journaling. It wasn't a Tumblr entry. It was him trying to put that idea out to the people. So this is a famous genocide denier. Famous.
But guess what? Apparently, that's not enough for the right wing. It's never been enough for the right wing.
Isn't it interesting that they again make it politically tribal? I'm the left wing. Once again, I'm the left wing telling you this. So don't try to say, oh, it came from the right, therefore it's bad. I mean, this is just pure ad hom poisoning the well bullshit. She's like, you know how the right's wrong about a lot of stuff? Well, they're saying it, so they're probably wrong about this. No, I'm the left, and I'm telling you, you're fucking wrong.
For them, Uygur's past is the perfect way to attack and attempt to discredit him.
Attempt to discredit him? Where's the credit? Wouldn't he have to have credit for me to discredit him? He is discredited. He's dishonest. He's disgusting. He's disenfranchised me. He should be disemboweled. Intellectually, metaphorically. Boxing body, what are your metaphysics? What is it metaphoric? Is the disembowelment metaphorical? Clean your bowels.
The attacks have been relentless, and there's been an orchestrated effort to spread misinformation about where we both stand on the issue of the Armenian genocide.
Where you stand on the Armenian genocide issue has no relevance. Everybody knows where you stand. You stand 4 feet 2, and you think the Armenian genocide happened. It's really fascinating, Anna. Get those tits out.
People have even accused me, an Armenian whose ancestors were persecuted during the genocide, of denying that it happened. The latest defamatory attack came from a Playboy opinion piece written by Art Tavana. He writes,
quasi-Marxist media network. Exactly. Oh, it's media. It's not news. Oh, they have a record button and they have a YouTube channel. I'll give them that.
Quote, it's Kasparian's role in joining the continuum of denial that pours salt onto the wounds of Armenians.
And the following is going to be Anna not understanding the phrase continuum of denial. She's going to take that as, oh, you think I'm denying it? No, Anna, we think you're part of a group that denies it. And your association with that group is part of the continuum of denial. You making excuses for an Armenian genocide denier is part of the continuum of denial. You working for a company called the Young Turks is part of the continuum of denial. And isn't it cool that continuum has 2 U's next to each other?
Now, he failed to show a single example of my so-called denial.
It wasn't your denial, you hook-nosed freak. It's your association and... Oh, Jesus, okay. It's your association and your tacit approval of being a part of a company with the name the Young Turks, who was founded and created by an Armenian genocide denier. That's your association with the continuum of denial. Not that you personally deny it, you fucking idiot.
I've talked about the genocide multiple times on social media, and more importantly, on the Young Turks. Funny enough, in the same column, Tavana mentions a video I shot on April 24th, 2015, which is the day Armenians commemorate the genocide.
They were raped, they were basically left hungry if they slowed down the march in any way.
Right, and look at that. Great production value. Anna sitting on her couch at home. No graphics, just, none of the millions of dollars of budget that the Young Turks own and possess. In fact, it wasn't even shot in the studio. Interesting. Weird how the timing worked out. Maybe Anna will explain why that's the case.
They were murdered immediately. All the men were forced to go into labor camps, and that is the reason why the genocide is referred to as the first genocide of the 20th century.
The video was shot for my personal YouTube channel because I happened to be traveling at the time.
Oh, wait a minute. The video was shot by your personal YouTube channel? So that video was not even on the Young Turks. Interesting. Oh, and you happened to be traveling. That's funny. You know who else happened to be traveling that day? Cenk Uygur. I remember it very clearly. The 100th anniversary of the Armenian genocide, Cenk wasn't in studio. I wonder if that was intentional. And the Young Turks didn't do a video on it. Fucking hell. Do you think at the 100-year anniversary of World War II, the Young Turks will do a video on that? You think the Holocaust will get a mention? Do you think?
Not because I was being censored by TYT, as you can tell by doing a simple search and seeing all the other videos I've done on this issue.
Anna, there are literally no videos of Cenk Uygur talking about the Armenian genocide, where that's the point of the video and he's acknowledging it happened, okay? You barking and talking past people as if people are accusing you of denying it is just you randomly virtue signaling. That's nothing. You don't understand.
There's more from Tavana. He writes, quote, Kasparian is first to ridicule conservatives for being immoral swine, yet she sits next to Uygur, who's famous for his silence on the Armenian genocide. As we know, silence is considered the final phase of genocide denial as it signals acceptance. If Uygur currently denies the Armenian genocide, he certainly has an incredibly strange way of showing it.
I'm glad that Erdogan is trying to fight for the Rohingya Muslims, and we all should, to make sure that they are not treated in this brutal way. But the temerity of him to mention the word genocide when Turkey doesn't recognize the Armenian genocide, where an ethnic minority was targeted and driven out of the country, that's an irony too ridiculous for him to bring out.
Okay, so there's a video in which they're talking about the Rohingya Muslims. So it's the Muslims are the victims story. And he mentions in passing that the Armenian genocide happened. That's interesting. That was in September of 2017. Once again, what he's saying in September 2017 does not excuse what he didn't say every other month of 2017, all of 2016, all of 2015, etc. So he whimperingly just oozes into I guess it happened. Let me just, oops, what?
So let's just be crystal clear. No one at TYT denies the Armenian genocide.
Let's be even more crystal clear. No one denies it now after 4 decades of denying it. And no one has ever seen Cenk make a video on the topic. Not one. You guys make thousands of videos hitting home on all the themes you like to hit on, except that one. Except one. And that's the one Cenk never does. So in 2018, he has half-assed mentions in passing because he's undulated his opinion on the matter slightly, begrudgingly, and you think, what was the big deal? What's the problem? Nothing to see here. I mean, he is on record in writing, in publications, saying it didn't happen, and then saying, I retract that I said it didn't happen, and now I'm just saying I'm not gonna comment on it. So I guess that's not his latest position? So right now, as of right now, we're all good? Oh, okay. Well, wow. I mean, this is like saying, hey, let's go punish that murderer for murdering that person. We were against him doing the murder. Oh, well, he's not murdering now. Oh, well, now he's against murder. Oh, okay. Well, then, cool. I guess it was my mistake.
Any accusation that either I or Cenk deny it is defamatory propaganda.
Well, you would know about propaganda, Anna. That's what you do. You're a propagandist.
Aside from Tavana's hit piece, he's written articles for LA Weekly that were so disrespectful to the female musical artists like Sky Fiera that he writes about that his editor had to issue an apology for publishing it.
Oh, that seems totally tangential. It seems like ad hominem. Oh, you're bringing up another event trying to smear him? Interesting. Trying to discredit him? Is he a bad guy, Anna? So we're not talking about his article or his accusations against you. We're just talking about him, the man, huh? That's called an ad hominem, Anna.
Finally, I want to address the name of TYT Network's flagship show, The Young Turks. The phrase Young Turk has been used by many to describe themselves or their organizations because in the Western world and in multiple dictionaries, a Young Turk is one who rebels against societal expectations.
It's also, Anna, famously, the group that committed the Armenian genocide. So because a word has another connotation doesn't make the alternative connotation not exist. It very much does exist, and especially becomes relevant when you have an Armenian genocide denying leader from Turkey. And it becomes especially problematic, to use your word, when an Armenian is working for said company. But yeah, explain to me why it's no big deal, why a Jew is on a show called The Nazis that is founded by a Holocaust denier. Explain that.
TYT was named back in 2002 when Uyghur founded the show because he wanted a news program that would challenge the horrible job mainstream media was doing.
Well, it's not a news program, so never lose sight of that. It's not news. It's biased opinions from amateurs.
In other words, he wanted to rebel against the conventional way of delivering news. But Tavana insultingly writes, Kasparian has now become Cenk's best public relations strategy. Her role as TYT's spin doctor often begins with a classic propaganda tactic, exploiting imprecise language and burying historical meaning. While utilizing the phrase Young Turks as a metonym for young progressives per its definition in the current American Heritage Dictionary may be technically correct, it is as intellectually criminal as describing Nazis as young socialists. Okay, let's get one thing straight. The word Nazi doesn't have multiple definitions. Nazi means one thing and one thing only. Young Turk, on the other hand, does not have one definition.
For fuck's sake. This is just bafflingly stupid. Anna, listen. Cal State Northridge graduate. Please listen to an alumnus of UCLA, the Bruins of Southern California. Please listen to a man whose brain scientists are waiting to get access to study by touching it and probing it after I die. They're waiting for the chance. Very interesting. Anna is now making the point, oh, the comparison between the Young Turks and the Nazis is not credible because the Young Turks, there's other meanings for it. And there's no other meaning for the word Nazi. Nazi means Nazi. Really? Does it? Well, why don't we extend it? What is the Nazi? A National Socialist? You're telling me there's no other way to interpret National Socialism? Well, first of all, socialism, that seems, you're a socialist. You supported a socialist, Bernie Sanders, so I guess there's a little wiggle room in there. National Socialist, both words seem kind of okay. There's multiple meanings, multiple connotations. But let's explore this idea that there's one meaning for the word Nazi. This is something that I would agree with in principle. The problem is, people like you, Anna, and regressives the world over have taken the word Nazi and applied it to a ton of people. So there are multiple meanings to the word Nazi now, as evidenced by your own website. When you type in Nazi into the Young Turks search bar, here's what you get. Let's go through it. Nazi Republican has meltdown on CNN. Well, here's the problem. He is not a Nazi. So that's kind of a weird thing because you used a word that has a one meaning, right, Anna? One meaning, but he is not a Nazi. So now what does that mean? What does the word mean now? Is it just a smear job? Is it just your propaganda saying, hey, this Republican congressional candidate is a Nazi? Here's neo-Nazi leader punched by protester. Well, that's Richard Spencer, and he's not a neo-Nazi. So what does that mean? Oh, he's a neo-Nazi leader. Not only is he not a neo-Nazi, he's definitely not a neo-Nazi leader. So what the fuck? Here's neo-Nazi movement growing in Mongolia, and those guys might be neo-Nazis, if that's a picture of them. Here's crying Nazi snowflake needs a safe space, and that's Christopher Cantwell. He is also not a Nazi. He is literally not a Nazi. In fact, there was a video of him at a Nazi rally, and I'm talking about a political movement, Nazis in America. So National Socialists in America. And he was there and they're like, so what are you here for? And he's like, well, I'm not really part of this group and I'm not into their socialism and all that bullshit, but they're pushing back against some of the right people, so I'm sympathetic. Something like that. But the guy is not part of that group. And even if he were, that group is not the Nazis of Germany, which is what the word means, right? Nazi means one thing, right? Here's one, teacher leading Nazi double life. So this woman, again, not a Nazi. So it's a lie to call her a Nazi. She is not a Nazi. Father disowns neo-Nazi son after Charlottesville hate rally. Once again, that guy's not a neo-Nazi. So Anna, there's a problem, you see here? You can't just say Nazi means one thing. It clearly doesn't, as you demonstrate. And similarly, the Young Turks, while you find your cherry-picked, oh, this is the only connotation we mean, that doesn't really impress anybody. Because we all know that the Young Turks is famous for having committed the Armenian genocide.
Which might be the reason why Rod Stewart named one of his most popular songs, Young Turks.
And? Wait, so Rod Stewart names a song the Young Turks, therefore what? She just said that like it was some zinger of a point. Anna, that doesn't mean anything.
Tavana is supposed to be a music journalist. If he had any knowledge about the very beat he's responsible for, he'd maybe know that there's also a British music label dubbed The Young Turks.
Wow, it looks like somebody did a Google search on The Young Turks. I guess that will just wipe away what is the dominant connotation of that phrase, which is the group that killed your people. And you could find whatever obscure reference to the Young Turks. Hey, somebody once named a playground the Young Turk Sanctuary, and it's, who cares? In Istanbul, it doesn't matter. It doesn't refute anything.
There's a financial program not affiliated with us named The Young Turks. CAA, one of the largest talent agencies in the country, has had a group of agents who have referred to themselves as Young Turks since the 1990s. I guess all these people are horrible genocide denialists, according to Tavana.
Yeah, Anna, I wonder if there's socialist parties, groups of people who are socialist, who organize nationally. So they're national socialists. I wonder if those two words could be used to describe groups of socialists. Are they Nazis? Is it the same? Words. What are words? So she gets accused of being a spin doctor and being part of the continuum of denial. And what does she do? She spins. She comes up with bullshit excuses for working for this company.
TYT is a platform that gives me the opportunity to educate others about any issue I
Imagine Anna educating people. What the fuck are you talking about? What a condescending thing to say. Educating us. I'll educate you.
Find important, including the Armenian genocide. Upon reading Tavana's hit piece, one TYT viewer wrote the following. I wept like a babe during the Young Turks Armenian genocide anniversary video a couple years back. Anna Kasparian did the entire video by herself, specifically addressing the denials of it, and recounted the plight of Armenian people fleeing the—
Yeah, good job, Anna, making a video on your couch and posting it to your personal YouTube channel. The one with 93,000 subs? Probably had far less back then. Yeah, you did a video on that channel, not the one with 3.5 million.
Genocide. One thing I can say is that I've been pressured into having a certain way or behaving a certain way, all to appease Armenian men. And it's all because of the last 3 letters in my last name. I was supposed to condemn jank, quit a job I love, and bow down to conservative Armenian men like Tavana, who really just hate the fact that I'm an outspoken, progressive Armenian woman.
Oh, now she's playing the female card. No, this has nothing to do with your gender. This has to do with your dishonesty and, again, just another insight into the many character flaws of these people. They are not good people. They're not smart people, and they're not good people.
But I will never let clowns like Tavana dictate my life or inform the decisions I make.
So once again, no Cenk Uygur appearing here. Anna Kasparian, you're only just an irritant when it comes to this. Your presence on that show is indefensible as an Armenian. Indefensible. And you making excuses for Genk is gruesomely shameful. You've been called out again. You're wrong yet again on this issue. And yet again, the reason it irks you so much is because it gets to the heart of the issue, which is you're not better than us. And most definitely not much better than us. In fact, we're better than you, bitch.
in the sky.